Are Newcastle United genuinely planning to build a state-of-the-art multi-billion-pound stadium inside Leazes Park, our Grade 2 listed park in a conservation area? Well, if they are, because the announcement's coming early 2025, then some significant discussions will have had to be going on in order to make that happen. And that includes Newcastle City Council and the Freemen of Newcastle, who are kind of joint owners and custodians of the land. Well, I have some significant information, a significant update, hot off the press, via the Freemen of Newcastle and their knowledge of any discussions in relation to and in conjunction with Newcastle United. It's coming up. Welcome back, it's Eddie here from Tyneside Life. Well, it's fair to say the speculation is rife amongst, I don't know how many Newcastle fans who are absolutely convinced that Newcastle United are about to build or planning to build a stadium inside Leazes Park, because it makes complete and utter sense. And since I've been looking into it, I've come up with information that contradicts that popular opinion. And oh my God, if you've seen the comments, I've had to delete tons of them on my YouTube comment thread on the 2 videos that I've done. You would think I was the son of the devil. You'd think I'd been stamping on kids as Christmas presents. You kind of get your head around it, really. So anyway, I had been doing some research and been in contact with Urban Green, the park management authority who manage Leazes Park amongst other parks in the Newcastle area and various allotments. And I got various information from them in regards to a broader video I'm going to be doing on Leazes Park, but I also asked a couple of specific questions in relation to speculation that a stadium was going to be built on Leazes Park. The top and bottom of the answers that I received from Urban Green is that their official line is that they're completely unaware of any discussions between Newcastle United and any of the key stakeholders, including them, in relation to any plans to build a stadium. So that's quite significant, in my opinion. You know, I'm the one on the ground having these communications, doing the research, but I've come in for a lot of criticism. It's been dismissed out of hand that there's going to be NDAs signed. You're just a YouTuber. Craig Hope knows better because he's got crack with the Freemen of Newcastle. There's talks ongoing, and they're just going to fob me off, all that sort of stuff. Yesterday, Luke Edwards from the Telegraph released an article. And not wanting to sound disrespectful, I don't hang off the word of what Luke Edwards says in his articles, or other journalists, if I'm honest. But he did put a quotation in from a spokesperson from the council. Now that is significant because you cannot just make up quotes from other departments. And in his article, he says the spokesperson for Newcastle Council said, "There has been much speculation in the media about the future of St James's Park. While there have been no formal talks between the club and the council, our door remains open as it would with any developer. When the club wants to sit down with us, we will listen and advise." That tells me, it just reinforces what Urban Green have already said, that no discussions are going on. And there's going to be some out there who are going to say, well, they've signed NDAs and they've deliberately lied or fobbing off Luke Edwards from the Telegraph. Okay, so let's go to the Freemen of Newcastle. And it was reported in the news, some speculation via Craig Hope. The Freemen of Newcastle were softening up to the idea of a stadium being in Leazes Park. Now, I didn't buy into that for an absolute second. You know, how would Craig Hope, a journalist, know what the Freemen and Newcastle United are doing, but Urban Green don't know anything about it? And now Newcastle City Council don't know anything about it. Freemen of Newcastle, custodians of the land, have to be involved in any talks. Now, they had a guild meeting this morning in the Guild Hall, Borromedine Street, next to the Hard Rock Cafe, where they were, amongst other things, signing in new members, new Freemen of Newcastle. I have a source who was there, and that person tells me there was 30 odd Freemen in this meeting. And one of the Freemen put the question to the chairman, this very speculation that we're talking about: has there been any contact from Newcastle United? Are there any talks going on between Newcastle United and the Freemen of Newcastle? And the answer is there have been no talks between Newcastle United and the Freemen of Newcastle. That's I can't understate the significance of that. That's not somebody giving me some sort of speculation. Somebody at the meeting, in a private meeting amongst the Freemen of Newcastle this morning in the Guildhall, hot off the press, from the horse's mouth, there has been no discussion between Newcastle United and the Freemen of Newcastle. So if Newcastle United are genuinely considering building in Leazes Park, well, they haven't spoken to anybody yet. The Freemen of Newcastle haven't been consulted with. Newcastle City Council say there's been no formal talks about a new stadium, and the Urban Green are on record as saying that they're completely unaware of any discussions. If I wasn't absolutely convinced before, I certainly am now, that the obvious conclusion, certainly from how I look at it, is that Newcastle United have got no plans to build in Leazes Park to try and tackle the insurmountable. That certainly leads me to the obvious conclusion that Newcastle United are not going to build a stadium in Leazes Park. If you still think, because you've been convinced by other people who don't read very much, that we're going to build a stadium in Leazes Park, I'm sorry, but you're batshit crazy. Clearly, when Newcastle United talk about once in a generation opportunity, one cheque is only going to be spent. They've been deliberating over whether to expand the stadium, but that's not really an attractive option, but to completely rebuild our magnificent home into this super stadium, 65, 70,000, multi-purpose arena that's just going to be magnificent for the whole city. So if you appreciate the kind of research I'm doing, the work I'm doing to get to the bottom of the facts of what's going on in our city, in our beloved football club, and you appreciate all that, please consider subscribing and hit the bell so every time I release a new video, you receive a notification. So hope you found that really informative. If you did, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to put your comments down below, and I'll catch you shortly as soon as I hear anything else.